Welcome to Dan Talks United, and we've won. We've beat Liverpool, arch rivals. We've done the double over them. It's been the first time doing that. I think it's been in 10 years it's taken to do the double over Liverpool. But anyway, we've beat Liverpool 3-2 at Old Trafford, and we've secured Champions League, and that was what we wanted to do mainly. I know it was secured anyway, really, but officially secured. But obviously, I've got my guest here, Dash, to just chew the fat over this game today. Manchester United versus Liverpool, 3-2. It's Carrick at the wheel. How's everybody feeling? Because we've got Champions League football. We're going to hear that nice music next season, and that's what it's all about. We can say goodbye to so many Monday night games as well. I'm going to be playing with the rest of the people on the Tuesday and the Wednesday, and then it's going to be Saturday and Sunday games, hopefully. But anyway, like I say, Dash is here with me. We're going to start chatting about the game. How are you feeling, Dash, before we get into things? Because it's been a while since I've spoken to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How you doing? It's always a better place. It's always a better time in a place for, when Manchester United wins. So, yeah, I'm feeling good. Yeah. I'm feeling good. Better than what I was feeling a couple of hours ago, but.
Yeah. Especially when it seemed to turn. Definitely.
Yes. Feeling much better. Yes.
Good.
Champions League solidify. We good.
So I've got some first comments coming in. Come on, get in. Yes. Good win. Jack here. Come on. And
what's up, Jack? What's up, everybody?
Message here from David Speaks Football. Great result. Congrats to Mano. Yes, we're gonna speak about Mano, David, because I know David is not a big fan of Mano for shutting me up for a week at least. But Ahmad, good grief. Get Anthony back. And I do streams with David, and we speak a lot about this subject, Mano and Ahmad. I really like Ahmad, but I'm starting to go off this kid a little bit at the minute. But anyway, we can get into some of that. But thanks for the comment there, David. And then just lastly here, SJG saying 3-2 prediction came to reality. Yes, definitely. And should have put a bet on because you would have won some money there. And yeah, you did put that. You did put that prediction in the last stream. So. Getting into things then, just make sure I've not missed anything. Yes, so again, it's one of those. My prediction was 1-1. Did you have a prediction before the game, Dash?
I didn't really have a prediction, but I knew it was going to be like a high-scoring game for us to, let it be a high-scoring game and give them a little bit of favorite that I wasn't expecting, but I knew it was going to be.
Yeah, and I think so I did the preview show with David Speaks Football that's coming in with the chat, and we were looking at the predicted lineups before the game. So that was Friday, looking at the predicted lineups, and didn't realize how many players Liverpool were going to have out today. And then later on, we saw that Isak was injured as well. So just thought they ain't got the best team there. So this is the chance for us to really go for them. And to be fair, I think, and we'll get into things now in terms of the start of the game, but I think we did start the game pretty well. I think we started it pretty much the same sort of tempo as we did against Brentford in that last game. We were really a lot of speed, a lot of energy. Obviously, It dies off, doesn't it, later on. But how did you think the start of the game went? Were you happy with the start of the game?
Yeah, it's fantastic. That's exactly how you want Manchester United to always start a game, right? Especially when you're playing at home. But we controlled the first half was amazing for us, right? We scored two goals and basically gave them the ball and tell them to come and play football. They couldn't really play football. I was expecting us to, to continue that same momentum in the second half, but, just like, a couple of mistakes. And you can't, Ahmad, he should do better, but I'm not going to fault Lamens because he's been fantastic throughout the whole season. So when he made the mistakes, I was like, you know what, this is somebody who's been doing well the whole season. I'm not going to be too critical of him, and I'm not going to be. He's a young rookie at the end of the day.
Yeah, and there's going to be mistakes made. I think it's taken. I would have thought mistakes would have been made way before this because, again, like you're saying, there's a young goalkeeper just come in. It's a big club, a lot of pressure. When he's first come in, we weren't playing the best really either. Right. But it's made such a difference coming in. And I think overall he's been a really good goalkeeper for us because I was saying the other day that I actually wanted Martinez from Villa. But you happy with his performances so far, though, Dash, from the sounds of that?
Yes, it is. Yes. I mean, so far I'm happy with his performances. As you can see it. I think we switched a little bit more because with Emery we were kicking the ball up from a whole lot. With Michael
Yeah,
Carrick, we also did a little bit of balance with that. But this game, a couple of games from the past, we've been trying to play from the back a little bit more. So therefore, that
yeah,
maybe that's why it's causing the situation. He's not really used to it. I saw him play the transition from the back when he was playing for Belgium versus United States. I watched that
yeah,
game, and he did well
yeah,
in that game, playing from the back.
yeah.
But I, I don't really see much of that at Manchester United with him. But it's a new thing, and he's going to learn it. It's okay. He made a
Yeah.
mistake. We won the game, the most important thing. So that's a good thing.
Exactly. And like you're saying there, I think next season you'd hope that when we've got new players coming in and we've got an established sort of setup and we know who's the main player to pick the ball up from the keeper. So, for example, if we sign Baleba, that's something that Baleba might do. I know Mano does it now and then as well anyway. So, yeah. So just getting used to that. And again, mistakes happen. I would not kill Le Mans over that because Le Mans is fantastic goalkeeper so far. Really rate how Le Mans has been since he's come into Manchester United. And again, when you compare him to the two that we've had, it's night and day. Definitely night and day.
Take this. I'll take one mistake. I'll take one mistake.
Yeah, exactly.
37 or 35 games. I'll take that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And how many mistakes do sort of like the top keepers make? Yeah, they do make mistakes over a season, so you've got to allow him for that, definitely.
I think social media sort of kind of. I think social media sort of kind of jinxed him a little bit because I was reading a couple of posts about how he haven't made any mistakes in X amount of saves that he.
Yeah, this is the thing. This is the thing because they like doing stuff like that because the commentators are constantly saying that Manchester United have not lost a game from a winning position at half time for how many years, and that's yeah, and that's the thing. It's always like it's going to be a jinx. Yeah. But before we get moving, because I was meant to say this at the start of the video, there was some rumours coming out that Sir Alex Ferguson was feeling unwell at the stadium. He's been taken away to hospital. As far as I'm aware, it's precaution, but obviously all our thoughts are with him, and hopefully he gets a speedy recovery. So that's our legend manager, Sir Alex Ferguson. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. But yes, that seems to have been coming out more and more during the game. So
the greatest of all time. The greatest of all time.
The GOAT, definitely the GOAT.
There's nothing that he can now, over accomplish or do anything. So it's just a little. He'll be fine.
Yeah. And just to get into a couple of comments before we move on, we can forgive Le Mans for the mistake today. We put up with Onana for a long time. Yes, and that's very true from SJG there. We've had to put up with mistakes from Onana and mistakes from Bayindir. And obviously Le Mans is a cool character, though. He's a cool cat. I've heard some of his interviews, and he's the type of character where if he makes a mistake, he'll forget about it pretty quickly. And to be honest, when you look at the game, some of the balls coming into the box, he was still collecting the balls. He was still stopping them from getting any chances. So he forgot about it. Yeah, he's cool. Belgium's a cool. Belgian players.
Belgian. Cool. Have you ever known a Belgian goalkeeper to dwell on the pass?
Yeah, they're calm and collected. And that's what you need as a goalkeeper. Yeah, and you need them to have a little bit of crazy here and there, but cool and collected. That's what you need. That's what you need. And welcome to Adil here. Glory, Man United. That's what we want to see. That energy, Adil.
Hey, yes, sir.
Welcome to the show, Adil. So, as I was saying, just going into the sort of first half, I was really happy with the first half in terms of the first exchanges anyway, sort of 0 to 20 minutes. Really good energy. Press is still something to question on, but in terms of energy going forward, counter-attack, that sort of thing, still want to see a little bit more from Mbeumo. I don't know what's really going on there. Love the player, not going to doubt him. I'm sure he's going to come back strong next season, but he does seem to have been impacted since AFCON. I don't know. Maybe it's I don't know whether that is a coincidence, but it just seems to have just like dropped off a little bit. So anyway, first goal came pretty quickly, really good play, and then a ball gets crossed in, and then it sort of pops out to Cunha on the edge of the box, takes his first attempt, and then his first attempt sort of gets blocked, and then shoots again, and sort of a bit of a scuff shot, but sort of comes off McAllister's ass into the back of the net, and we take it all day long because we definitely deserved to go 1-0 up at that stage. So I don't know if you heard what I said there, Dash, because I know you just went off there. Just talking about Cunha's goal, his opening goal. I think we deserved that goal. Good finish. I know it sort of came off McAllister's backside as a bit of a deflection, but it was going goal bound. Obviously, it's going to be Cunha's goal, and it is registered as Cunha's goal. But how did you find that? Do you think we deserve that? I'm sure you do anyway, because we're playing pretty well.
Of course, we deserve it. I think Matthias Cunha, for the past couple of games, he's been very fantastic, and he's been on the score sheets a couple of times. Even if he's not scoring goals, he's also assisting and playing good football at the end of the day. Yeah. That's what you want from your number 10.
Of course you do. Yeah.
That's what you want from your number 10, and that's what you want from a new signing. I know from the beginning of the season we were talking about how Mbeumo was the signing of the season. I might be, pivoting a little bit more to Matthias Cunha at the end of the season so far. Cunha and Sesko, but I would take that any time of the day.
One thing I'm starting to notice, he seems to be a bit of a big game player as well, Cunha. He seems to step up. I know he's playing well throughout, but he seems to step up when it matters, because he stepped up against Arsenal.
That's what you need. That's what Champions League is for, bro.
This is it. And I'm sure he came on as a sub against City as well and stepped up there. So you need big game players when we're playing against our rivals. And I know, because we were sort of asking the question on the preview show whether this game's still a big game. And I think it'll always be a big game. I know that we're not playing the best, and I know that Liverpool aren't in the best place either, but I still think it's always a big game against Liverpool. Probably the biggest game for us, really, even bigger than the City game. But like I say, he seems to step up. We've done pretty well as well against our rivals and against the big teams this season in terms of beating City, beating Arsenal, beating Liverpool twice. So I've got to rub that in, because I've got they're not Scousers, but I've got Liverpool fans in my group, one of my group chats, and I've got to keep rubbing this in that we've beat them twice this season. I know it's only a small win, but you've got to take what comes
something
to you.
To brag about.
Always nice to beat them. Of course it is. You've always got to lament in that and just really enjoy that. So just a couple of comments before we keep going. So Boomer's game is off. Yeah, it's just again. I'm not going to bash him because there's definitely a player there. He's a seasoned pro. He's not a kid, so hopefully that form comes back. There is a coincidence, like I say.
The African brothers are not playing good football. What's going on?
No, but it's not just at Manchester United, though, because someone was saying this the other day that it seems to be impacting quite a few of the African players across the teams. Don't know how true it is, because I haven't really watched other teams that well, but can't really count Belair because he's kind of had a bit of an off season this season anyway. But I think some of the other ones have dipped a little bit. But anyway, like I say, I can see him coming back for us next season. He probably won't get back to his heights this season for whatever reason. I think there might be a little bit of an adjustment as well since Amarin's left, because I think although I think he can play, obviously I think he is more of a winger. I think he was playing pretty well as that sort of that 2 number 10 system under Amarin. So I don't know if he's played as well since Amarin's left, to be honest with you. But maybe it's just a coincidence. And can't beat shooting up the Scousers, and that's definitely true. And yeah, and all you want from
what does that mean? What does the Scouser mean? What does that mean?
Sorry. Yeah, I just assumed you'd know. So, people from Liverpool, they call them Scouse or Scousers. So it's just a bit of a nickname for people that are from Liverpool. So we call them a Scouser. I think there's more to that in terms of history than that. But generally speaking, we call them Scousers. So if someone's saying Scouser, we're talking about a Liverpool. someone that's from Liverpool.
Oh, okay.
So yes, beat the Scousers. And I've comment here from Jerk. Maino scored and best most significant goal, Manchester United's 3-2 victory. So yes, so what Jack's saying there, that goal was pivotal, and it definitely was. So moving on for the remaining of that sort of first half then. So again, as it has been doing, because we've sort of had question marks over our players' fitness to a certain extent and how they can sustain things. But again, it's very difficult for any team to sustain that energy throughout a 45-minute half. So how he was displaying that energy from sort of, like I say, minute 1 to maybe about 20 minutes, very difficult to sustain that for 45 minutes. So I know a lot of people are saying, well, if it was under Amorim, he's got him up to, height of fitness and all this sort of stuff. And since he's gone, that the fitness has not been quite there. I mean, really quickly before we start talking about like the second half, how do you think that our fitness has been impacted since Amorim's gone? How are you feeling about it, Dash?
I mean, anybody that know me, they know me that I'm the biggest Amorim fan. I didn't think he should get fired, but I think it's time to let go of, Amorim. So I gotta stop talking about him. So, I just want to be fair. I think it's the fact that we're playing one game, every week, and so that's also playing a part. So therefore, the players are not really. I mean, you can rest a little bit more. It's a different mindset when you have to go to practice. On Tuesday or maybe Wednesday, it's a different mindset. So that's how you got to look at it. But I mean, I think you got to give a little bit of credit to Michael Carrick. I think he's doing a good job.
Yeah, definitely. And whilst we're on that subject, and obviously the question keeps being asked, are you happy if he gets the job? Because I'm expecting that there may be some sort of announcement now we've got Champions League secured.
I really want.
We're only going to be quick on this subject. We talk about it all the time, but
I still want Nagelsmann, but I mean, but if you can't give the job to, like I say, a top-notch manager, then go ahead and give the job to Carrick, because if you're going to give it to Areola, you're going to give it to Glasner, you're going to give it to those type of manager, then why not just give it to Carrick, right? Because he came in and he did a job, and many people can argue. So okay, Aaron had Amorim had a half a season that he couldn't qualify for. People can argue that, right? So then it would be fair to Michael Carrick for you to give him the job, because the other person couldn't really qualify for the Champions League, and so on. But yeah, I think if you're not giving the job to a top manager, go ahead and give Carrick the job.
Yeah, and again, I've said this before, that my opinion on it seems to change game by game. Obviously, when it was 2-2, I'm thinking, get rid of this guy. Obviously, emotions run high, and then it's 3-2. It's like, Carrick's done nothing wrong. Carrick's done nothing wrong. But ultimately, my analysis on it is more about, and obviously that's emotions, but my analysis with a cool head is more about, do I trust this guy to make changes when things are not going right? Also, I want a coach that can coach young players, but also coach players that we might buy that's got potential. And I want players to come in and get better. I don't want players to come in and get worse. It doesn't feel like we've coached players for a long time now. And what I mean by that, and obviously players are coached every week, but what I mean by that is coach them to get them to play better. So, and it's also about consistency, because I think also through coaching, we need some consistency where players know exactly what they're doing. They get put in better positions, or they take up better positions during game. And that will then bring consistency as well with it. So as those performances increase, as players know what they're doing more, as players get better at their craft and improve, that consistency will come with it as well. So obviously, I'm not expecting every single player to play, 10 out of 10 every single week, but you want more sort of 7-8 performances, more of that, more players doing that level for me. And I think sometimes you're only relying on 1 or 2 to get you out of a hole, and that needs to improve. Now, that's not all on Carrick, but this is why I want a coach, and this is why I'd love like an Enrique, for example, is that you want a coach that knows exactly what he wants from his team, knows exactly what he wants from individuals, but also improves individuals. And then the individuals that don't want to improve because they just can't be bothered, then you move them on and you make sure you've got the right environment. So there's a lot of work for the coach to do for me. So again, this is not just about Carrick. This is just what I expect from a coach, especially at Manchester United. We shouldn't be desperate for an ex-pro to come in and sort us out. We should be picking who the next coach is. I know we're not in that position because, unfortunately, plenty of coaches that were there have sort of either signed long-term contracts where they are, and we've mentioned this already with your Tuchels, for example, and Ancelotti's, or are about to sign a contract with the current team they are. So we haven't gone in there like a boss and said, we'll have you. And Manchester United should be able to do that. We're just not in a situation where we can. So to sort of wrap that up, I think if Carrick does get given it, which I believe he will do, then we just have to see how he gets on. And the moment things are working out, or we're not going in the direction that we should be, we should then be going out and being very aggressive and saying, we want you. But we'll have to see. I know there's not a lot available, but it seems like a lot of excuses sometimes for us. So just to touch on Sesko's goal, because that also came quite early, to be fair, after about 14 minutes. So as you can see, there was the ball played across. Was it a header from Bruno? I'm trying to remember now. The ball got played across anyway for Bruno. But then their keeper, Liverpool keeper, sort of got his fingertips on it and sort of hit it towards Sesko. So that stops Bruno getting an assist. But then there's the controversy. The controversy was when the ball hit his thigh and then sort of flicked up into his midriff, did it touch his fingers? Now, I heard Gary Neville, who's our ex sort of legend, saying, I think it might have touched his fingernails. That's close, that, all that sort of stuff. How did you feel about it? Did you think it was, do you think it needed all that controversy around it? Or did you think it was straightforward? Because for me,
there is no controversy because, when the goalkeeper hit the ball first, it takes away Bruno Fernandez's assist, and I was really mad about that one. Yeah, but then the ball went ahead, it hit him. I think it's hit him on his chest, or in the middle of his waist in a way. Then it rolled, it's up. But when you watch the ball, even if it touches his hand and it brushes his hand, right, it didn't move in a way. It didn't change the direction of the ball, how the ball was spinning and so on. So
that's true. That's true.
How can I be? So I mean. No, it's not. If the goalkeeper, excuse me, I'm losing my thoughts. If the referees was to give that as a handball, then football is definitely not football anymore.
Oh yeah, football's over if that gets called off for handball. Football's done for me. Again, I always feel that referees are against Manchester United. Obviously, there's been a lot of poor decisions across the season, but I just think heavily against ourselves. And I wouldn't have been surprised if they said it was handball because it's Manchester United. That's true. Anybody that's in that VAR room also won't like Manchester United. So I wouldn't have been surprised. But the right call for me was done. I think it's inconclusive anyway. You could see the ball and the momentum of the ball didn't change. It came off his knee, off his stomach, into the net. It's a valid goal for me. Yes, you could probably, if you want to do it to the minute detail, probably see it come on. And again, this is the thing, Neville and whoever else talking about it possibly coming off the fingernail. It's like, come on, how pathetic is that? That's so pathetic that you want to call it off because it might have come off his fingernail. It's just absolutely pathetic. So, as I was saying, we've got into halftime 2-0 up. And at that stage, and I know what you're thinking, I'm thinking we're in cruise control. We're in control of this game. Liverpool aren't getting back in. Liverpool are crap. That's all I'm thinking. And then halftime, I'm also thinking I don't think we need to make a change either because I thought we were doing all right. I think the only sort of criticism I'd have is that I think it probably should have been 3 or 4-0 at halftime.
Yes, Bruno missed a chance.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So I know Sesko messed up a little bit, but then he scored pretty much straight afterwards. So you can't really count that one. But at least 3-0 at halftime it should have been. So that's the only criticism I would have had. And at that stage, I would say Cunha had a good game, I felt. Quite a few of the players had played well, but I thought Cunha did pretty well at that stage. And then going into the second half, obviously, quite the surprise was when Sesko came off. For Ahmad. I don't know if you saw it yourself, Dash, with the coverage from where you're from, but it did show that Sesko was limping a little bit, and I think he went down the tunnel. So it looked like he was substituted off because of an injury. So I would have found it a bit strange if he'd have taken Sesko off at halftime tactically because Sesko had got a goal. We were doing all right. We were on top. So it did look at again. Did you get any coverage of that yourself, Dash, watching the game?
Oh, they didn't really say. I mean, they made one comment about it, about his head, and he's being put by Konate. which I thought that was a foul, but whatever.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's all they really said. But I think that's one of the reasons why he made the decision. He tried not to, risk the situation, just let him, finish. Just let Ahmad or anybody else come in and finish the game. I mean, you can't fault Michael Carey for trying to protect a player and so on. So
yeah, definitely.
I think that's what it was.
And then, unfortunately, Ahmad's sort of first contribution to the game sort of cuts inside, tries to pass it.
What's going on, man? What's going on with my star boy?
I know. And it obviously gets turned over by Liverpool because he doesn't reach one of our guys. And then sort of Szoboszlai seems to sort of just run through the defence. No real challenge. I know Maguire tries to challenge him, and then Dalot doesn't really pick up from where Maguire leaves off. And then before you know it, Szoboszlai is slotting in the bottom corner. Now, we know Szoboszlai is a decent player. We know he's got a good finish on him, but that was just too easy. Again, I don't know what you thought, but that was just too easy.
It was like I thought they could have committed a foul as he was running. I thought Ahmad should have brought him down. Just take the yellow, take the yellow.
Yeah.
That's what it was. But I mean, that's just what that was. Yeah. So.
Yeah, it just unfortunately, again, you would have expected after that mistake that Ahmad would have just bust a gut back to get back in place and, like you say, commit a foul or just get a tackling. But it is what it is. It's not as bad now knowing that we've because in my head, I think we've scored 5 goals really in the sense because we've gifted them 2 goals. But anyway, we've won.
Bro,
so.
I was thinking in that first half, I was like, bro, we could definitely score 7 on them, just like how they did to us back then.
Yes,
but
I want 7 up.
I was thinking. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Definitely. And then it was around sort of 52 minutes. There was a ball sort of played quite sort of an arrowed ball. Well, it's quite high, looping ball in the air. And Bruno sort of controls it out of the sky, a little bit like Juan Mata, sort of Juan Mata-esque. Plays the ball across, but unfortunately, Mbeumo's flicked effort at goal sort of hits the post and goes out. That would have been, if it was onside, because I'm not sure if it was offside or not, but that would have been a fantastic assist from Bruno if Mbeumo had scored that. And then, fortunately, 55 minutes in, Le Mans, sort of the goal kick arrangement that went in. A lot of teams are doing this where there's a bit of short passing at the goal kick sort of thing. And Le Mans tries to play the ball inside. I think it was towards Casemiro, but unfortunately Liverpool grab hold of that and Gakpo gets the equaliser. And definitely, as I was saying earlier to Dash, who's just dashed off, that I'm thinking, get rid of the Carrick because this is just horrendous. Although you can't blame Carrick for those mistakes. At the end of the day, these players should be better than this. So just as you're just coming back in there, Dash, I was talking about the chance that Mbeumo got before Gakpo levels. So it's the ball looped up into the air, and I was just saying that Bruno did almost like a Juan Mata-esque sort of control and kills the ball out of the air.
It was offside, though.
Passes it across. I think it was offside. Passes it across to Mbeumo. That would have been a lovely goal. But I think it was offside, like you say.
It would have been the best assist of the season.
Chef's kiss type things, definitely. And as I was saying there, unfortunately, that mistake from Le Mans, and then Gakpo ends up slotting it home and leveling 2-2. And you're just thinking the worst at that point. I mean, at that point, were you confident we'd come back, or did you think it might have swung the other way to Liverpool? What were you thinking at that point?
I knew we wouldn't have lost the game. If anything, I was okay. Look, we would tie the game the most. But just for the record that we have, not losing the game, I think that gives you a bit of a confidence of, what we're capable of. But I wasn't expecting us losing the game. I thought even if Liverpool scored 3, we still was going to go ahead and score a goal, at least to make it 3-3. But you already know. Kobe Minu is,
And then coming on to that now then, so around 77 minutes, Shaw out wide, gets played out wide, crosses the ball in. You're thinking that the chance has gone begging because it's gone quite far, and then Ahmad sort of heads it back across the box, and then the other star boy steps up, edge of the area, slots in lovely slotted finish, gets the winner, and that's Armeno just signed a contract, and we'll come on to that now, actually, Dash. Are you happy that he signed a new contract and he's staying
of course, I'm
another
happy.
5 years at least? Yeah.
Yes, I'm
Definitely.
happy. Just to go back to the goal, I wanted Ahmad to score the goal just to make amends for for the mistake that he made.
I get that.
But I mean, in a way, he still made amends for the mistakes that he made because he played a fantastic ball back.
He plays the ball.
I guess he was trying to give it to Casemiro, roll back to Menu. And Menu, I wasn't we don't really expect Menu to score goals, right? So when he shot, I was like,
I don't know. He's scored a couple of nice goals from the edge of the box, sort of thing.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying that it's not in his repertoire yet. Like, that's not his CV so far. Okay, like this is a midfielder that will get you 10 goals in a season. This is not who he is yet, right? But I'm saying for some reason he have something against Liverpool that he always goes against them. So it's a
good habit to have. It's a good habit to have, definitely.
Yes, especially your arch rivalry. Yes, you can never go wrong with that.
And just hopefully he will step up when it comes to Champions League next season, for example, and we can just get back on track. Now, obviously, I don't know if we're going to push for a title or anything like that, but I'd just like to see us show a good account for ourselves in the Champions League next season. Right. A bit worried at the moment because did you watch, just going off the point a little bit, but did you watch the PSG and Bayern Munich game the other day? Yes, exactly.
That's what football is supposed to be about. That's football.
Yeah, exactly. That is football. Definitely. If anybody has never watched football before and wants an introduction into what football should look like, watch that game. That game was unbelievable. And I know a lot of people are saying, but I know the defenses weren't great and stuff like that. I don't care about that. I don't care about that. It brings me back to the days when Real Madrid were really good and didn't care how many times you scored against them, as long as they scored more than you. Yeah. They would just outscore you. They're happy to win 5-4, 6-5, whatever. And it was just the spectacle. And as a neutral, because obviously there's no emotion, you can watch it calmly, but as a neutral, what a game. So my point is, my fear is coming up against a Bayern Munich or a PSG. If we came up against them today, oh my God. But hopefully, if we can get the right players coming through the door in the summer, we can start to compete against teams like that. But right now, they're just way out in front, them two teams.
But then you have to take into consideration, right? So watching today's game, right? I was watching. I was like, look, if we had, somebody who can give us the goals like Casemiro, but young and fast, can do the job. Yeah. I was like, you know what? Like, we easily beat 5-0, right? That's what I was thinking because we just need that energy to stop, to stop that the flow of Liverpool, to start the flow of any top team, right? That's what we really need. So if you go ahead and go get you Chiraman, or you go get you Carlos Baleba, or you even go get you Anderson, you can go ahead and complete. You can compete for the Champions League. I think your front line is already good enough. Your defense is not the greatest, but they can still do a job. And we have to have a conversation about aid in heaven. We have to have that conversation.
Do you want to have that conversation now? Let's have that conversation now if you want. Yeah, I mean, I've said before I wasn't sure about him. I wasn't too bothered because he came in for quite a low fee. So it didn't bother me if it didn't work out. But I think sometimes, like in his own head,
those are the best signings.
Yeah, coming in at that price, there's no pressure in a sense. There's no pressure coming in at that price. If it'd come in at sort of 30, 40, 50 million, like Euro has, then there's a big difference. So I've got to say, and I've got to hold my hands up, Heaven's been very good once he's come in. There's been a couple of games that he came in where he started the game a bit slow and it was a little bit rash, but then when he settles down, he's composed. I like the fact he's left-footed as well, so it gives us a bit of balance at the back. He's got the height, he's got the strength, he can drop the shoulder, he can beat a man. I'm not saying that we need a centre-back to beat a man, but you like a centre-back to be able to advance the ball forward and give you a different option. I think his channel defending's better than Yoro's as well. So last-ditch tackles remind me of Wan-Bissaka a little bit as well. So I've got to say sorry to Heaven at the moment, and praise to Heaven to come in and sort of settle us down, because I tell you what, Martinez, good defender and everything, and I rate him, but he's let us down a bit when it comes to injuries and obviously the red card he got. So How are you feeling about Heaven? Because I think you were a bit more in his court, weren't you, before? Yeah.
So I think you said something about strength. I think when it comes to strength, he has to be a little bit better. His aerial duel, he have to be a little bit better, of course.
Yeah, aerial duels. Yeah,
I'm not asking him to be Maguire, but over the time you will see that he will put on a little bit more muscle. Then you will see he will bust up that midfield. I mean that defense, like he need to. But I think those are the areas that he really need to improve on: the aerial duels and his size. You gotta get in the gym. That's the only thing. But yeah, overall, I love the way he played football. I love the way that there was a sense, just like how Lamez make us feel, in our goalkeeping position. Aiden Heaven, I didn't even feel like that was a 19-year-old, 20-year-old in that position. It just felt like this is a normal footballer. I wasn't worried about anything, right? I wasn't worried about anything. So, but yeah, I really do like the way he played football. I gotta be honest, when we played against Arsenal in our preseason game, and then Hoyland scored a goal against him, and then I saw that we were signing. I was like, this guy is who we signing? Yeah. So but after that, I was impressed underneath Ruben Amorim. I don't know why we keep going with Lennon Euro. I do love Euro, but I think Aiden Heaven is the better option for right now. Martinez is not taking Aiden Heaven out. I'll be honest with you. He's not taking him out.
Yeah,
and that's very interesting to say, though. That's very interesting to say.
It is, and it's a big call.
Martinez is not taking him out.
Yeah, it's a big point you're making there. It's not wild. It's not a wild take, but it's a big point you're making there because there's every chance that Carrick thinks Martinez has got more experience. Obviously, the more established player, so I'll put him back in. But I wouldn't right now. I would try, because the thing is, what I was looking forward to, because obviously with Maguire having the suspension and Heaven coming back in, I was just looking forward to Maguire coming back and then partnering up with Heaven, because I saw if Heaven's got someone that's more experienced, so more experienced like a Euro or what have you, more experience, can sort of talk to him through the game, and he's got someone strong at the side of him in terms of aerially. So obviously we want, as you've just rightfully said yourself, we want Heaven to be stronger in the air, but Maguire's got that strength in the air, so at least he can sort of back him up a little bit, and then Heaven's pace can back up Maguire. So then there's a bit of a combination of stuff going on there. So, and I think they work well together. Obviously, I'd love to have a Maguire with more pace, but in terms of a combination, I think that could work pretty well even going into next season, because obviously Maguire is staying on. So yeah, overall quite happy with Heaven, and I think it's worth having a talking point on Heaven, definitely. So before we sort of finish things up, I just wanted to quickly, I'd normally share it, but because of the setup I've got here, it's just gonna mess up the screen a little bit. I'm just gonna see if I'm sure it will. If not, I'll read it out without it being on screen, because it's kind of in the way a little bit. Not the best. So all I wanted to do is just quickly have a look at the sort of main stats. Obviously, I don't know what it was because I didn't check this. I don't know what the possession stats were in the first half. I suspect it was a lot more even.
Like 30 to 70, bro.
Yeah. In the overall, you've got, obviously, Liverpool there got 62% to our 38. Again, I always say, though, Dash, I'm not bothered about possession overlay if we win the game. Now, I don't want this stat to be like this if we're playing against, I don't know, Burnley, or we're playing against West Ham. But against Liverpool, again, at home, you kind of want to be the one that's on the front foot and have more of the ball. But again, I always say,
why would you complain if you're 2-0?
This is the thing. This is the thing. So I always say is that, would I prefer to have more possession but losing, or less possession but win the game 3-2? And I'll go for less possession here. So that doesn't bother me. But going on to expected goals, we had 2.14 to their 0.89. So it sort of shows how low it was for them in terms of their XG. Total shots, 18 for us, 13 for them. Shots on target, 6 for us, 5 for them. And this is an interesting one. 3 big chances for us, and we've got the 3 goals. 1 big chance for them. So again, it kind of tells you a story. I mean, I don't know if you're a stats man, Dash. I like a little bit of stats, but not overly. But sometimes when you look at... Say again, sorry.
Stats can be deceiving.
Yes, this is the thing. This is the thing. This is the thing. So stats can be deceiving. I don't mind them when they're quite clear cut. So obviously the best stats is the final score is the best stats ever. But in terms of some of the stats where you can sort of see big chances, I like to have a look at big chances just to see how, if it matched what I saw with my eyes. And sometimes it's nice when your eyes and your eye test matches up with the stats and what the stats come out with. So it just shows there that there's quite a lot of stats there where we're highlighted. So if anybody wants to sort of say that we didn't deserve the win, for example, sometimes if it's the eye test that's telling you that we didn't deserve, but the stats kind of back up what we're saying, I'll go with that for me. So it's just nice to have that backup more than anything else. So I'll just get you back on there. Okay, so we'll continue because I think Dash has just dropped out there. 1 second. We'll keep going. There we are. So sorry about that. So I'll see if Dash comes back in, but nevertheless, we're getting towards the end of the stream now anyway. So again, for anybody that's in and watching, please get your man of the match ready. We're going to talk about who's played well and that sort of thing, but let's get your man of the match ready. So I would say in terms of like players that have played well, I was saying in that first half, I quite liked Cunha. Obviously, he got a goal. Sesko, I keep thinking that he should really do a bit more. Again, these days, strikers don't just score goals. They are your first line of defense as well for me. So in that press, when their defense is trying to play the ball out, Sesko's got to be on it. He's got to be aggressive. I know obviously it looks like he's got an injury and he's come off injured, and it is a massive shame. But I just think you just want a little bit more from your striker at the forefront for me. And I just think, like I say, it would have been a much more comfortable game if Sesko just a bit more energy, really, is all I'll say on that one. In terms of other players, I think Bruno did all right. I think there was moments again where I think sometimes it just feels like Bruno might not have played that well if you don't get an assist, for example. But I think he was digging in. I think he had a lot of energy. I think he was involved in a lot of the plays going forward, especially on the break. Probably unlucky that he didn't get an assist with Sesko's goal, which would have put him on 20, wouldn't it? And one off, so level with Henry and De Bruyne, and then just one off beating that record. It's got, 3 games to go to try and beat that record. So that's going to be interesting to see if he does it. But again, anybody in the chat want to put in your comments of who you felt played well, or if you want to say someone's played well in the first half or both halves. Like I said, we are coming on to the man of the match as well that everybody's waiting for. But yeah, so in terms of the players, again, I thought Casemiro did all right in the first half. A few decent tackles even there. Obviously, I do agree with commentary where the midfield at times, especially when things change, so it's probably more in the second half more than anything, but when things changed a little bit in terms of momentum, I did feel like the midfield was getting a little bit overrun. So it just felt like Meno and Casemiro wasn't quite in the positions that they should be in. They were advancing forward a bit too much for me. I think you don't mind if one goes and one sits, but I felt like both were sort of going at times as well, and then getting caught out of position, because all it takes is a bad pass from one of your forward players, and then you're caught out, as we used to see that a lot under Erik ten Hag in the past and what have you. So, but yeah, Casemiro did all right, I felt. Obviously, Meno did all right in that first half. So yeah, I mean, again, Maguire had some good tackles. I thought Heaven, as we just discussed with Dash, who was there earlier, did all right. So I think, generally speaking, across the board, it was a good team performance in that first half. And then, obviously, coming on to the second half, things changed a little bit. I think, obviously, Ahmad coming on, sort of not much to sort of talk about with Ahmad in that second half, other than, unfortunately, that bad pass that led to Liverpool's first goal, which sort of changed the tide, changed that sort of momentum. It sort of swung in Liverpool's way, and it was I was saying it as well, classic case of game of two halves. It felt, where first half Liverpool were absolutely, were dog shit, weren't they? We were in control. We were in control in terms of performance-wise. We looked like we could have probably scored 3 or 4 goals in that first half. And then second half comes, substitution, which was enforced. Ahmad makes that bad mistake. And then before you know it, Liverpool are back in the game. They've got the confidence. They've got the momentum. They end up drawing it 2-2. And then you're on edge then. And you don't know which way the game's going to swing. And luckily, the prediction from SJG came true. And it ends 3-2. So, just to wrap things up then, we are going to get on to the man of the match. I'm just going to give anybody that's watching time just to put in your man of the match. Who's your man of the match? And obviously, I think we know by now who Sky gave it to, but doesn't mean that that's your man of the match. So please put your man of the match in the chat. And I'll just keep going until we see that. So like I say, really good win for us. 3-2, as we know, gives us that Champions League qualification. That's guaranteed now, that Champions League. So it's nice to get back into the Champions League and listen to the champions and not listen to that sort of Europa League music. I've actually put it as a distant memory, so I was gonna hum the music, but I can't remember it. It's a distant memory. We're not in it, so it don't matter. We'll leave it for, I don't know, Brighton or someone. But Scousers, and like I say, for anybody that watches this, that's a Liverpool fan, Bournemouth are coming, you know. Watch out, because Bournemouth are coming for you. And I'm just gonna have a quick look to see, actually. Quickly see. So obviously we've just let's have a look at the table. So as obviously I'm not sharing this. Actually, I might just share this really quickly. There we are. So in terms of the league, then, so it's just nice to have a look at that as well. Got Arsenal at the top, as we know, but we've got City in second, who have got 2 games in hand. Ourselves still in third. Goods. The cement's starting to settle in third. So we've laid the foundations. We've put the cement in. We're just waiting for it to dry now for third spot. But what has dried is the Champions League cement's dried. So we know that for definite. So the pressure's a little bit off now. It's just about finishing above our rivals, Liverpool. So we've got that little bit of cushion now. 6-point cushion over Liverpool there. 6-point cushion over Villa there as well. I know Villa have got a game in hand there by the looks of that. Bournemouth, come and get Liverpool, because up until today, because obviously Bournemouth played just before we did, they won. So if we hadn't have won, then we had to look over our shoulder at Bournemouth. But because we've won, they can't catch us now. So we have got that Champions League spot for that reason. So that's the table. So, like I say, we can I'm not saying relax and sit back and not bother, because we'd still want a strong finish to the end of the season and be professional about things. But it's good to have had that that Champions League spot cemented. So we're going to come on to man of the match now and sort of wrap things up on the stream. So, as I was saying, just going to check. Nobody's putting in the chat. So I'm just going to go with mine then. So for me, overall, really happy with the other star boy. So it's not Ahmad. The one that's just signed a new contract. It's got to be Kobbie Mainoo. Kobbie Mainoo. And really quickly, again, I think for the last sort of few games now, he's been instrumental in terms of our midfield. Again, it's not perfect, in the sense of there is times where the midfield is lacking a little bit in terms of that tenacity, and it's getting played through here and there. But one thing I can say is been intercepting well, it's been tackling well, it's been passing positively forward. He's had some good passing accuracy as well, stats-wise, if you're into stats. I think in this game, obviously, you're always pointing to the match winner when it comes to the man of the match, generally speaking, anyway. But I think he did some really good stuff. At first, I'm thinking, oh no, this is sort of like the first game since he signed his contract. He didn't particularly start that great, and I thought, here we go. Those detractors, those people that are Mainoo haters, going to say, oh, he signed a new contract, so therefore his performances have dipped. But he started to come into his own. with the passing, like I say, the interceptions, the link-up play. And as I always keep saying, is that play you can bounce the ball off. So when you need to get out of a hole, you can pass the ball into Maynard, and you can, generally speaking, guarantee that it comes back to you. And he just gets into good spaces, gets us advancing. No sort of tricky stuff going on, nothing, no step overs, nothing fancy, no flicks and tricks per se. It's just steady football. It's just controlled football. It's calm, collected and composed football, and that's what you need from your midfield. So for me, that's why he gets the man of the match. And what tipped it even further is advancing into that D after Ahmad had sort of headed the ball across, and it was just a calm, nice slotted finish. And what he does and what Dalot doesn't do, because Dalot was put through quite late on and just blazes over the bar, one thing Maynard does do in front of goal, he just calm. And he almost like everything slows down, and it's just Maynard that's moving, and he just slots it in nicely. So lovely play from Maynard. Hopefully we'll get more performances like that. But like I say, 3-2 win against the Scousers, 3-2 win against our rivals, probably our biggest rivals. We're sort of level, I believe, on Premier Leagues, on league titles. We just need to start being Manchester United again so we can separate ourselves from the Scousers again. But anyway, Carrick's at the wheel for now. Carrick's probably going to be confirmed at the wheel for next season. We've won. We've beat the Scousers. It's 3-2. United. But as always, thank you for watching Dan Talks United. Please like, please share, please hit that